Angelina, you be cool in my temperature. If you call,
say cheese, take a picture. Shaka post, make a see, take a picture.
In the leg book, boah.
Why the party there today? Hey mama, hey I ever say. Shake your body.
Hey, Abrantia, Aketesia, Ibi Family, Charlie, MX24. My baby, must say, baby, about them people that do Mama and bad.
Hey guys, this is the girl, Miss Sasha.
This is the best MC, best hype man in Ghana 2020. I beg you success, the highest MC. Keep watching MX24.
It is fun, it is fearless, it is factual.
If you're into content production for digital or TV, say hello to the MX24 Studios. We're the prime location for your music video shoots, live productions, TV shows, and more. From state-of-the-art equipment to a very skilled production team, we've got you covered. Step into our modern and spacious studio with a changeable lighting system and foolproof sound. Our touchscreen studio projection monitors come with other features, including Wi-Fi connection, screen mirroring, and a remote workspace mode. Take advantage of our high-quality cameras to shoot in 4K and a variety of the best lighting equipment guaranteed to put life into your sets. Locate us on the first floor of the Silicon House building off the Boundary Road, East Legon. Give us a call on 024-235-5956 or 054-454-8612. You can also email us at info@mx24gh.com.
Shut up and bend over, eh? And let your back do the talking over. So back up, back up.
You guys are doing beyond what a regular would do, and I'm attracted more to that. I like people who want to do something different, not the usual TV.
What's up, guys? Your boy Kiddy, aka the Golden Boy, aka Sugar Daddy. Catch me on MX24.
It is fun, it is fearless, it is factual.
No topic is off limits. The pain of experiencing a miscarriage is something that can crumple your world. We're talking postpartum bodies and everything in between. And they share their story on their battle with infertility. The touching stories of the African woman rolls before you.
I was disappointed in God, in life, in myself.
How many losses have you had?
After that, we had 4 more.
What?
I shouted, I said,
we lost vision, we lost any sound beyond crying.
Our mistakes, advices, regrets, real stories, and more on We Got This Africa. Na Ashako and her intriguing panel serve you real experiences of the African woman. We Got This Africa.
We got this.
All women were created differently with unique attributes. From managing a home or simply running their own business, through the ups and downs, the pains and joys, we almost always win.
It's actually boiled and then the oil comes up, and that's how we get the shea butter.
This brand new season of the Talkative Mom Show is double the education, double the information, and double the excitement.
And then I actually realized nobody cares.
Yes,
nobody cares.
Yeah. Join me, Eno Craigreen, and my guests this and every Sunday at 6 p.m. on MX24.
Good evening and welcome to Spotlight. Technology is a huge topic. It permeates every aspect of our lives. And as Africa continues to stride towards development, there's consistent urges for Africa to harness the power of technology in order to advance different aspects of African life. But the question remains, how can the youth be part of this global technological movement? This evening on Spotlight, we're going to be speaking with some tech experts to break it all down for us and to explain to us the various ways in which the youth can take advantage of the tech movement and leverage that to also advance themselves. We'll be right back after this break.
If you're into content production for digital or TV, say hello to the MX24 Studios. We're the prime location for your music video shoots, live productions, TV shows, and more. From state-of-the-art equipment to a very skilled production team, we've got you covered. Step into our modern and spacious studio with a changeable lighting system and foolproof sound. Our touchscreen studio projection monitors come with other features, including Wi-Fi connection, screen mirroring, and a remote workspace mode. Take advantage of our high-quality cameras to shoot in 4K and a variety of the best lighting equipment guaranteed to put life into your sets. Locate us on the first floor of the Silicon House building off the Boundary Road, East Legon. Give us a call on 024-235-5956 or 054-454-8612. You can also email us at info@mx24gh.com.
Hey guys, it's another Tuesday. You know how we do it. This is Tech Today with your boy Eddie Kumsen. You know how we do it. Is that time?
Says Apple doesn't need to be pressured to follow the trends, because I mean Apple is Apple.
Apps run better on iOS devices than ever right on Android.
Yeah. So coding is an integral part of tech, but there are so many fields in tech as well. So
it has a car system where you can monetize and change any configuration that you want.
I'm here to give you the latest trends, the rumors and the leaks in the world of tech.
Welcome back to Spotlight. My name is Noong Falong. You're watching MX24 television. I mentioned before the break, this evening we are looking at technology and how Ghanaian youth can get involved with technology. If you look around this studio, everything that's happening here is enhanced by technology. So I'm not even sure whether technology is the base or technology is the one that enhances the base, but we'll get into that shortly. I mentioned that technology has constantly been harped on as one of the ways in which Africa and Ghana can enhance its development processes. It fits into everything, makes everything better. And this evening we are speaking with Otima Irenchi, who is co-founder of Because She Can. She is also a tech engineer. We're also speaking with Clifford Frimpong, who is a data engineer, and Ethel Kofi, who's a tech entrepreneur and founder of Edel Technologies, also founder of Women in Tech Africa. She's what they call a big woman. And she is on Zoom joining us. We're very grateful for your time, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you for having us.
So before we get into the questions that I have, I want to find out exactly what it is that you do. Otima, what do you do?
Okay, so I'm a data scientist and analyst.
What does that mean?
So basically,
That's why your glasses are big.
Yeah, I do
It's hard work.
big data, yes.
Okay.
So basically, what an analyst will do is to look at data that is sourced from different places and then look at the historically what's going on with the data, and a scientist will predict what can come of the data that you are looking at. So in layman's terms, that's what it is.
So on a normal day, what do you do?
So
when you sit behind your desk, you're looking at a lot of data.
Yes, so I work as an analyst, and so on a normal day, they can ask me that maybe you want to find a number of customers who churned between January and February, or want to find how many people are making transactions with us within a specific period of time. So I have to go through the data, clean it, and then pull it out and present it using like data visualization tools such as Excel or Power BI.
So what does cleaning it mean?
So sometimes
I want to understand.
Okay, so let's
I'm sure
say
my viewers also want to understand.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say you do a survey, and then you go out asking people, how often do you go to church? So you have different people asking these questions, but sometimes when you input the data, you can make mistakes in the data. You get it? So somebody can say maybe I'm 15 years old, and then maybe the spelling of 15 can be wrong. So you are looking through the data, and then you are cleaning and make sure that the spellings are correct. You're making sure that there are no missing values. And with a lot of data, there's certain algorithms or technologies that you can use to find out these mistakes in cleaning the data without you having to look at it with your naked eye. So that's what cleaning the data is about.
Interesting. That's what Otima Yuenchi does. I'm not going to attempt to repeat all of that, but that is what she does on a regular day. Let me get down with the ladies now. Ethel, Kofi, thank you so much. We gave you short notice, but you managed to fit us into your schedule. I'm grateful for that. What exactly do you do as a tech entrepreneur?
Hello, everyone. First of all, I wanted to say it's Otima Renchi. You have a very famous name for Ghana Tech because the past country manager for Microsoft in Ghana, the first woman country manager for Microsoft in Ghana was Otima Renchi. Yeah. So when I heard your name, I thought, oh, is that her? So you have a very famous tech name.
My aunt, actually. That's my direct aunt,
I see. Yeah. She says that's her aunt, so it's I guess tech is in the family.
Well, okay. Now, I do a number of things, so it's a bit hectic to discuss. So I'll give you a range, right?
Okay.
So I run a tech consulting business. So a lot of my day now is mostly dealing with clients and business development. As I suppose as you build up your business, you do less tech and more client facing and more sort of user experience. And then I run Women in Tech Africa, so there's a lot of work there around sort of planning and programming for sort of programs for women in the technology space. And then I'm on a couple of boards, so there's a lot of reading of material to get ready. So that's my typical sort of what I do on a daily basis.
Yeah. So I did mention that she's a big woman, so we get it. I'm sure those in the tech space understand it better than I do. But Clifford, did you understand her?
A little bit.
Oh, okay. What do you do as a data engineer?
So basically,
is it similar to what she does?
So I come before her.
Okay.
So without
so
me,
there's
she won't
steps to
exist.
it. Hey,
Yeah.
okay.
So basically, I build pipelines.
Okay.
So I'm sort of like a plumber, right?
And
my job,
plumber.
so data is everywhere, right? You can get data like various sources. So my job is to just gather all these data from these various sources, create a pipeline that the data can pass through to someone like Otima to continue whatever she does.
What do you mean by create a pipeline? What does this pipeline entail? How does the data pass through it to her? Without it, the data can't go to her?
Yeah, so just like the way we have gas pass through pipelines to our various homes. This time you are building like a data pipeline but instead of gas passing through, it's data.
Data that's passing through. What do we call these pipelines? We call it data pipelines.
Yeah, data pipelines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. That's good to know. But let me come to Ethel, because I want to understand, when we sit down and we say the tech industry, what exactly are we referring to? And do all these different roles come under that umbrella?
Sorry, you better. I lost you a little bit there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so the question I'm asking is, when we say the tech industry, and then we look at technology, is it an umbrella that all of you come under, or is it segmented?
Well, okay, so the tech industry now has become large, right?
Okay. Is that a good thing?
It's a good thing because of where the world is going, right? So the world is becoming more and more tech advanced. Africa is, well, at least according to the ILO, 1 out of sort of every 5 workers in the future is going to be of African descent, just because of the population bulge that's in Africa. So we do really need a lot of people ready to be the future of work. Now, we have romanticized the tech industry in a lot of ways. And so there's a lot of people rushing to the industry. But I also feel like there are support roles within the tech industry, right? So you can be HR in tech, you can be marketing in tech, you can be digital marketing in tech. And then there are the sort of very technical roles, which is you've got a data engineer and you've got a data scientist, you've got a programmer, you've got an artificial intelligence person. All those people, there are different sort of classes of people that sit in different groups, but you can also be in a traditional role like marketing and that sort of thing and still be in the tech space. And I think sometimes we don't say that enough. We kind of push the sort of programming and that sort of things quite a bit.
So when you said we have romanticized the tech industry, it reminds me of, sometimes I read online and someone says, maybe I had a regular 9-to-5 job and then I learned to code or something, or I learned something in tech and now I'm making a lot of money. Is that how it works? Can you just switch from a different job and learn something in tech and immediately you're a big shot?
Well, so it's more like we hear the stories, we hear the success stories because they are successes, right? For every one person that succeeds, there are 10 people that don't succeed. That does not mean that the tech industry is not it's not a difficult industry to get into, but yes, it is relatively easy to learn how to program and begin to program and build something on your own. That's the advantage of tech. But let's be very clear, the stories of I built tech and now I started programming 6 months ago and I'm now in a 6-figure job. Those are not as common.
It makes you immediately want to quit your job and learn, and learn coding. Maybe you don't even have the brain for coding. We don't all have the brain for coding. But is it been that difficult? Let me give those ones to Otima. Otima, how easy is it to get into tech?
It's not difficult, and I won't say it's exceptionally easy because, well, there are different aspects of tech. I think that right now when we talk about technology, we just put it under software. But then there's also hardware, there's also electronics, so there's different parts of it. But nowadays, when you say tech, people think just coding. But like she mentioned, like Ethel mentioned, there's also digital marketing, there's also things under software. But to study, it depends on where you want to go. If you want to do heavy programming, there's some level of math that you would need. And then you need some statistics if you are going into data science. So with those things, you have to study extra hard. You have to have the skills in order to thrive in that space.
Right. Where did you study?
Well, I did computer engineering at Ashesi University. And afterwards, I did some extra learning online.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say extra learning, what did you have to learn? Where did you go to learn it? Do we have in Ghana the resources that are needed to train people in tech?
Yes. When I finished school, I joined the Azubi Africa program, which was teaching people in data science for 3 months.
Okay.
And software engineering. So I chose the data science track, and then I studied for 3 months. There's also other companies like Developers in Vogue, which just focuses on women, teaching them how to code. There's Blossom Academy. There's places in Ghana that you can learn. You can either go on site or you can do it online. So aside going to the regular school, you can also learn these things outside of school.
Interesting, I see that. But do you need any special skills? If, you know, I'm going to school to study tech, or let's say I'm a journalist right now, and then I decide that I'm going to go study tech. Do I need any special skill set, or I can just go as I am and be able to study?
No, you can just go and study the requirements that is needed for that specific tech field that you want to venture into.
Do you need to be really good in a specific subject, you know, like English, like maths? What strong suits do you need?
Well, if you want to go into software development, if you want to go into data science, you would need to be good at math and statistics and that kind of thing. But if you are going into UI, UX design, designing of apps, the front end, you don't really need some like math skills. Maybe you might need to be good in English because with user design, you are interfacing with the clients. So you have to speak well or be able to write well so that it enhances your work.
So it's different things.
Yeah.
Right. But, you know, the part of tech we usually hear most about is lately coding is such a big word. It's everywhere. What does it mean, Ethel? What does this whole coding thing mean?
Right. Okay. So it is really simply the ability to write instructions for the computer to execute. So the computer is ones and zeros, right? And you give it a set of instructions for what to do, and it executes it, and that's why you see whatever the computer is supposed to do. And that's the basics of coding. And so I'm going to say a little bit that if you do want to go into programming, logical thinking, the ability to think through things logically, step by step, process-wise, is I think your biggest asset. Now you mentioned if I'm a journalist, I want to go to tech. I think when I find the people that are really great in tech are people that bring outside knowledge. So for instance, if you're a journalist and you want to come to tech, I would say merging of journalism and data science is an absolute hit, right? Because that sort of research, understanding data, finding data, pulling data, and you match that with the with the ability to analyze and find patterns in data. That's a killer combination. And so I always tell people that if you have other skills, then find a way to juxtapose those skills in tech, because tech itself is almost an agnostic skill, right? So you can build anything you want, but the extra skill you bring from sort of other sources will help you be better and give you an edge in the space.
I see. That sounds easy, but not so easy. So if I decide to learn data science, for example, for you, Clifford, you are a data engineer. Yeah. How easy was it for you? Did you also go to Ashesi?
No, I was at University of Ghana.
Okay, you learned in Legon.
Yeah.
There we go. So how easy was it to study in Legon? Did they have the right equipment to teach you what you went there to learn?
Well, it was mostly theory. You hardly do practicals. So you have to, like, after class, you come and try things yourself and all that.
But if you're doing mainly theory, and then you have people like you who are in other countries and are going hard on the practical aspect, how do you compete with these people?
Yeah, so if they work X amount of time, you need to work 3X amount of time.
Okay, so you just put in more work.
Yeah, more work.
Interesting. And how do you get into the whole, when you leave school, how easy is it to access tech jobs?
Well, it's not easy. Looking
is
for
it like
a job.
any regular thing, or we feel like tech is this hot cake, so once you come out, everyone is looking for you?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Okay.
But it's a very competitive field. So if you don't stand out, I mean, nobody is coming for you.
So it's like any other job. You have to stand out in what you're
you
doing
need to stand out
before you get some particular attention. I asked Ethel before you came, what is this whole coding and programming thing about? It's such a huge movement now. Everyone wants to learn how to code. Everyone wants to learn how to program, but is it easy for people to learn it?
Yeah, it's not easy, but then here's the thing: the programming or whatever you used to program is just a tool. At the end of the day, you're trying to solve a problem, and you need that tool to help you solve the problem.
Wait, what's a tool? Are you not using your brain? Your brain is a tool.
Yeah, so
Okay.
whatever idea you have, you need something to implement the idea. So that's where the programming comes in. So the main thing is you solving the problem. Yeah.
And when you start in the tech industry, what kind of challenges do you encounter? I think I'll give this to the women. Yeah. I'll give this to the women, and then I'll come to you because I want to know if the problems are, you know, the same across board. Sure. But Otima, what challenges did you personally encounter, and what challenges are common in your field for women?
Okay, so for women, you'd find that in the space there are fewer people that look like you.
Okay.
So if you were, for example, in my current job, we're about 3 women now, but when I started, I was the only woman with about 15 other guys. So for somebody, that can be intimidating because you're working with people that you may not be able to easily, you may not be as comfortable with as you would with a woman. So it can be intimidating for some. And also in some places, personally, thankfully, I haven't worked somewhere that I have been looked down upon because I'm a woman. But then I've heard of instances where people would go to work at certain places and some of the more intensive jobs are given to the guys, and then it's like, oh, yeah, woman, so let's just give you something simple. Maybe something that, for example, she went as a software engineer and then you're giving her some extra role. You're not allowing her to code. You're not allowing her to build a program because you think she's a woman. There are some times that I had a friend who was working on these big companies, and then she was working in technology, and then there was a task and the guy just said, oh, you guys are girls, so you might be cooking or something, so that's how come I didn't call you. that was very demeaning.
Yeah, very sexist.
Yeah, so you might want to do it, but then you have some people who have this unconscious or conscious bias that women are not even supposed to be in that space, so they don't even give you the opportunity. So you have to like go out of your way to make yourself.
But how do you push back against things like that? For example, if someone said that to you, I mean, how would you come back from that?
Well, that's the tough one. I mean, you have to speak up. You speak up and let them know that you came for a certain role and that's what you would like to do. And then let's say that opportunity has passed, you let them know that next time you would want to be included in something like that. And you can speak to maybe someone in a higher authority about the situation so that they can also help to,
So you escalated. Yeah. Ethel, how would you, first of all, you've done a lot in the tech space, but have you ever encountered any seemingly sexist or very glaring sexist situations? How do you push back?
Right. So I have the hindsight of being a little older and a little more experienced in this space. So, I mean, when I started out, there were barely, I mean, I look back now and I say, actually, it's much better now than when we started. That there was not enough women in our classes. And I started my career outside of Ghana, which means I was not only just the only woman, I was only the only black.
Yeah.
Right. I have learned with experience over the years, and I think in my younger years, I assimilated. Assimilation being, what did I need to do to be accepted by my peers? Now, rightly or wrongly, and that can be debated. But for a very long time, the very first part of my career, I was very much like the guys. And so I dressed in your hoodie, your whatever. I matched the tempo. And so for a while, people would forget my gender, whether or not that was a good thing or not. And then that's up for debate. I've learned my lessons over the years. Now that I run my own company, I've had instances where, you go into a meeting and there will be an offhanded comment. Now, two things I always ask myself in that situation is, is to make the decision whether or not speaking up or come back is useful for the people, for myself and for the people who work for me. Now, if I find that it's not useful, then I do what I say there is a 10 to 20% task for being a misogynist in a meeting with me. And so if you work with me, then there is a price to pay for it. So I will get paid if you're being misogynistic.
Okay.
Now,
so then it works in your interest if
it works in my interest. Now, if
yeah.
I decide that speaking up is what I have the hindsight of experience and the hindsight of being able to pick my clients, and so I can say I do not want to work with this particular client.
Right.
But it's sort of years of learning and unlearning, because there are things that we also internalize as women. But sort of zooming back to the question itself, in being the difficulties in getting into tech. Now, as much as we'd like to think that tech is a meritocracy, right? So once you do well, you will be noticed. No, there's a lot of subjectiveness in what people see as good quality code, a lot of subjectiveness in what people see as commitment. And so there is a lot of work, and people who want to do remote work will tell you that as an African, they're not maybe not too sure about your work, want to double check it and triple check it. And yes, we have to work hard. We have to put in more hours. We have to prove that we can do it better. But I think that in any sphere, you've got to put in the work. This is the unfortunate world we live in, and so you've got to put in the work. Tech does lend itself to more opportunities for you to sit in Ghana and have a job in the US, or have a job in Italy or Luxembourg or whatever. That's what tech is great at. But you understand that the prejudices that are all over the world that affect Black people, that affect women, they are also affect us too in our spaces.
Ethel, when we look at countries like India, the Americas, they seem to be much more advanced in technology than Ghana and African countries. What gives them this edge? What is it that makes these people so advanced in an area that we are still struggling?
So there are two parts of it. The first one is being intentional about growing skill sets, right? And we have not been, for a very long time, not been intentional in growing tech talent. So India did that for a long time, had a whole program to make their graduates more math-centric, more computer-centric. And so they built out a plan, an intentional plan. So that's one part of it. There's the other part of it is that we need leaders who understand what tech is and understand how to position us as a country for tech. And when you lack that, unfortunately, then you're a step behind everybody else. So it's about being intentional about planning. It's about having our schools. So I'll give you an example. The first time I read the curriculum for ICT for basic to secondary schools, I almost wept, because that does not prepare our students at all for the tech world. What it does is teaches them Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel, which makes them consumers of technology. How to think through, how to build algorithms, that level of sort of critical thinking, that's not included in our curriculums.
Yeah.
And so if we're not building up the tech talent and the tech pipeline, we're always going to lag behind somebody else who is very intentional about what they're doing.
I think even when we talk about tech literacy in Ghana, even people at the secondary level are now learning Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel and all of those things. But what specifically can we do? Clifford, you should take this. What specifically can we do to fine-tune the early stages so our children, our people are prepared for the whole tech world?
Yeah, so like she said, critical thinking. I think this should start at a very early stage, because it looks as if we are all just being taught. We don't have that design kind of thinking. So it's very hard. And you realize that when you grow up and maybe you're into tech learning, you realize that you're lacking all these things, and you now have to learn all that to help you with your thinking. So I think critical thinking, design thinking, problem solving skills should start very, very, very early. Very early.
Listening to some of the issues they mentioned that women have to face, and how they have personally had to experience some of those things, how do you think we can carry women along in these spaces?
I think we just have to encourage a lot of them. So here's the thing: we are all making awareness. Women come, but then these women are not. They are still not coming into it. Either maybe there's lack of maybe some motivation or encouragement. So I think maybe the more.
You think there are not enough women even now?
Well, still, I think there's not enough women.
What would constitute enough women?
Well, I think if we can get like a 50-50,
balance,
yeah.
Of course.
Because
when
Clifford.
So hold on. When you say, what's the problem with 50-50?
That would be hard.
Why is it hard to get 50-50?
Yeah, because looking at it now.
The right balance.
Well, who knows? I mean,
okay.
It will happen, but I mean.
Is there something we should be doing that we're not doing now to ensure that there's 50-50 balance? Or maybe, like she was mentioning, targeted approach?
Yeah, I think it all boils down to the encouragement. Right from childhood, so it's like right from childhood, they are not, exposed to these kind of things. So it's hard for them to even think of something like that. So probably even the parents, right? The parents don't even know what these things are. So it's hard for them to impact that knowledge to the child.
But you see, Ethel, let me come back to you. Some people have argued that it's better we get specialized schools for technology instead of incorporating it into the regular curricula. Does that work better than just broadening the curricula at a lower stage for students to understand what tech is?
Before I answer that, can I go on the question? Can I sort of
add to that?
On
Yeah, sure.
So I take exception to every time the conversation becomes women are just not interested in tech.
Okay.
And then I go back to the research that shows that between teachers and parents and society, we make girls not interested in tech. And then we take away the time of girls, because girls are then asked to cook, are asked to do more household chores.
I mean, she did mention something like that, so.
So when you say when you say, oh, you can build up skills over the next 10 years, because there's a 10-year-old somewhere that's building code, but there's a 10-year-old girl that's not given the chance to sort of explore, then we have this dichotomy where, of course she's not going to be interested when she's 18. She hasn't been given the chance to. Okay, now moving on to the question of specialized schools versus
regular curricula.
So there is a level of digital literacy that's needed just across board. There's a correlation between digital literacy and GDP. I think it's a UNECA document. And so just generally growing some level of digital literacy in the country is just great for everyone. Now, I don't think there should be specialized schools until 16, 17 years old, where people can begin to make career choices. But in the beginning, at least we need to get our kids in this space where they are comfortable with technology, they are able to use it, they are able to think outside of the box on how to use technology.
But is technology exciting, Ethel? It's, when we look at it, it looks like such a maze of,
Right.
she was explaining to me that there's some part of it that you do great in if you're a reader and all, but the perception we usually have of technology is that it's all so much figures and calculations. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you the story of how I got into tech. So when I left, I did science in secondary school, and then I wasn't sure what I was going to go and do in university. And the thing that made tech interesting for me, and it wasn't even about computers. It was a simple thing about someone said to me, the computer is dumb, but you are smart and you can make the computer do what you want it to do, right? So it's a tool that once set in your hands, you can use to create. And I liked the idea of creation. I wasn't even thinking of mechanics, technology, any of that when I chose to go and do computer science. I was thinking creative. I was thinking the ability to be able to design something and develop something and build something. And so it's how we sell the technology, right? So the PR around technology has always been, of course, the sort of math and the smart guys and that sort of thing. But it's how we present it to people, right? So for the designer, it is a creative tool. For the developer, it's a different tool. For the person that uses it to think through data, it's a different tool. Now, so how we sell it to the kids needs to be different than the stereotypical way we're doing it. We're selling it sometimes in very masculine ways, and that is not necessarily interesting for girls or other people.
Let me ask you this very big question, and I'm just going to read from, because you made reference to I think the UNICEF document about digital literacy being connected to GDP. And this is just a World Bank study that showed that, I mean, they start with saying Africa's future is bright, but it's also digital. And then to ensure positive economic growth and development that benefits all citizens, Africa must make big strides in digital literacy. This was published in 2019 by the World Bank. Also, it says that, I mean, initially we used to think of 3 R's. That's reading, then there was writing, and then arithmetic. But as foundational skills in today's educational systems evolve, we turn to a new decade, and it's time to add another one, which is digital. But how does this work in Ghana's situation, especially when we have a whole digitalization agenda, and we keep hearing the digitalization agenda? Are we approaching it the right way?
Right. So that, and I was part of the very first design of the Ghana ICT policy, and I've been part of the second redesign conversation. Now, what I think that what has happened is we've always had a good ICT digitalization agenda. We've had a good on paper agenda. Now, the implementation of that agenda is a different conversation, right? So one of the big things there is access and affordability. In order for people to be digital, they need to be able to access the internet, and they need to be able to afford devices that give them access to the internet. That's something we have not cracked, right? So you have, you cannot compare somebody in Accra here, a 10-year-old in Accra here, to a 10-year-old in other parts of Accra because of the access that they have. Now, one of the big things
before you proceed, I still want you to finish explaining that. But is some of this access not limited by cost? I mean, you want people to access the internet, but internet is so expensive.
Yes, that's what I was coming to, right? So the Alliance for Affordable Internet, which it's an alliance with Facebook and the rest, which proposes that the cost of 1 gigabyte of internet should not be more than 2% of the average income in a country. So that is something that governments need to work through. And Ghana is signed up to this. And so there has work that has to be done with. Ghana has a rural access agenda, right? And so I know that there's some work there in some CSR work in ensuring that there is at least blanket access for people in rural areas. So there is an agenda. It's the implementation that I'm not sure we're going fast enough.
I see. But what do you think, Otima? How does this whole digitalization agenda work for Ghana? And how can the youth be part of this agenda?
Well, let me go back a bit. Even before the youth can get onto it, I think that we need to incorporate it from the younger generation. Like how she's saying that there's no access, people are not given the opportunity to even be introduced to it. So by the time you're like 14, 15, you don't even know how to use a computer. You don't even know how to type.
We have a whole generation of our parents who are struggling to simply use a computer.
Exactly. So even if we want to digitalize the economy and digitalize a lot of things in Ghana, there's a part of the people who have to work on digitalizing, and there's a part of people that will have to use those tools or these new equipments that have been digitalized, right? And we don't even have the skills to know how to use a mobile phone or to use some new technology. So we have to be able to teach everybody from from the younger ones going up, how to use these new tools, these new equipment that are coming, that are supposed to like transform how we work or how we live on a day-to-day. Yeah.
What does Clifford think, though, about youth getting involved in digitalization, and what opportunities are there for the youth to get involved?
Yeah, so for the opportunities, especially in the tech industry, I think there's like a lot of opportunities.
Like?
Yeah, I'll get to that. So people, like we said earlier, people tend to think it's just programming.
Okay.
But then there are a lot of tech opportunities that you don't even need code to do. You know, there's the PMs,
the what?
PM,
What's
like
that?
product managers,
Okay.
program managers. There's, I mean, tech law. I mean, it's also tech. You're a lawyer, but you're in tech. We have, so the way tech is big, we have like everything that based on your skills and interests, you find something in there for you. It's a very, very big umbrella.
So it's about your skills and your interests.
Yes.
What if I have a diverse range of skills and interests, but can I use that as a side hustle? Like tech, you know, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a journalist, but can I go into tech? But can I still be a journalist and use tech, you know, work on the side with tech?
Yeah, I don't really get your work on the side, but then...
Like a side hustle. I have 2 jobs. So in this economy, you need more than 1 job.
Yeah, so what, I mean, something like this, if you're using the tech to make your journalism easy, then you're using technology. Because I tend to relate technology to innovation, right? So the moment you are improving something or you are building a new thing altogether, then that's technology.
But what does the nation stand to gain by having more young people in technology?
Meaning, so if, assuming everybody
and I'm
was...
coming to you soon with that too, SL. The same question, I want it to be expanded. But let's go with Clifford first.
Yeah, so when we have a lot of people, you know, in tech, and that whole be Miami phone mommy, be take call away mommy, it's going to reduce because now, you know, everybody is
are you shading our parents?
Oh no, I'm not mentioning names, but yeah, and it also helps because I tend to look at like these tech skills, even though like people just think of it as programming. It still helps you, it builds you, because through tech, you know, I've built some skills that I never thought I would, you know.
Are you glad you went into tech?
Yes, honestly, I don't know what I would do if I was in tech. I don't know. For real, yeah.
But how early did you get interested in tech?
So mine started, I was very, very young. I think I was like 5 years or so. My mom took me to this IT school or whatever, where they teach us paint, you know. So at that stage, I could draw TV3. That was the only thing I could do with paint, you know, the way the old TV3, yeah.
And then you developed
interest
in tech.
Yeah, so growing up, and you know, I like, you know, playing with things. I like adventure. I'm very inquisitive. So when I get a computer, I want to press every key to see what's happening. You know, do this, do that. So like as time went on, I realized that it's actually tech I want to do.
Yeah. Was it the same for you?
Yeah, growing up too, I had a computer and then I would play around with it. There was like typing programs such as Mavis Beacon, and then you learn how to you learn how to type, you learn how to play video games on the computer. And then when I went into school, I learned ICT and I was good at it. I was acing, and I realized that this is something that I'm interested in. So the interest was introduced to me at a very young age, and I realized that this is what I wanted to explore. And so I started building my skills in it as I grew up.
So when I come to you with the previous question, yes, I mean, we want the youth to get involved with tech, but how does it benefit the country ultimately?
So I think one of the big issues with the population boom that Africa is going to experience is that Africa is going to have to find jobs for the growth in the population. And so tech allows us to build jobs, not just for our populace, but enable our talent to be global, right? That because we all know there's a correlation between strife and crime and unemployment. So that's one of the big things. And then we know that there is a direct correlation again with GDP and growth in sort of tech companies. The other thing is that Ghana, for instance, can become a builder and from Ghana to the world, right? So the idea is that the more companies you can build that can go global from here, the more money we can repatriate back into our economies. You see that like South Korea, where they built your Samsungs and things like that, and you see that these companies then shore up their economies, right? So I think it's two-part. One is just ensuring that our youth are employed, and that takes away your issues with crime. So more unemployment, more crime. And that it enables us to then also repatriate dollars back into our economies and make our economies stronger.
But beyond being employable, is it lucrative? I mentioned earlier all the stories we hear, which can either fall under misconceptions or exaggerations or whatever. But is it lucrative? I mean, the tech guys, I know some tech guys, Ghanaian tech guys at Facebook, and they're making a kill. Is it lucrative like that across? Are all tech people millionaires? Are you people millionaires?
No. Not all tech people are millionaires, but tech does give you the opportunity to earn more. So I think it is easier for, say, a young man that's going into tech to earn a 6-7 income in the next 5 years than it is when you are going to like HR. Right? And so tech gives you the opportunity.
Does tech enable people make millionaires? Are tech people millionaires? Maybe you're just at the beginning.
So whatever you heard about tech is true.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's very lucrative. I mean, it gives you the opportunity to make more.
Why is that?
Well, we are hotcakes now, so it's cocoa season for us.
Okay, so it's more about it becoming a very important industry.
Yeah.
Right. Otima, how lucrative is tech?
It is very lucrative.
Does it pay your bills?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it can, because let me say, there are some opportunities that you'd get in Ghana that may not pay your bills. Meanwhile, you're doing tech, you're doing the same role as somebody in the US.
It's different levels.
Yeah, it's different levels. I think in Ghana, some people tend to underpay people with the same set of skills. But if you were to bag a remote job whilst living in Ghana, you will be paying more than bills.
So it's also about who you're working for.
Yes.
You know, the job that you have managed to get for yourself and what it's getting you. I think that's almost with every other kind of job. Depends on what level at which you're working, because there's so many different levels in every profession and who you're working for. But have you experienced, are there any common misconceptions with tech? I mean, the big bucks seems not to be a misconception, but what are the common misconceptions?
Sometimes you see that, learn a tech skill in 3 months, or learn a tech skill in 1 month.
All the time. Learn coding in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's just clickbait. You can learn the fundamentals of something in a few months, but with the way technology always evolves, new things are coming up all the time, so you never stop learning. You can be in one role, and then the tool that you use for, let's say, cleaning the data will change in the next year, and you have to learn it. So you don't just learn once and stop and say, I've finished learning for tech. Tech role.
Okay, we're running out of time, so can I take that as a closing remarks, or do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, you can take that as closing remarks.
Okay, awesome. Otima, Clifford, give me your icing on the cake.
Yeah, so to those who are interested in tech and want to come into tech, first of all, it's not going to be an easy ride. Yeah, people always, it's easy when you get in, just learn this hello world and you're done. No. It takes a lot of hard work, and we are still learning. Nobody has figured it you know, we are still learning on the job. So it's not easy. You need to psych your mind and just get started.
Right. And let me come to Ethel to finish it off for me, please.
I think my final words are to people young people that want to go into tech or are at the beginning of their careers. In order for you to stand out professionally, you're going to have to compete globally. There are opportunities to do that. So there are a lot of what we call open source projects, which are projects that everyone can contribute to, and it can be judged by the same sort of international standards. Build up your brand by building things for people, building things visibly for people to see. Learn that your competition is just not the people sitting around you in Accra, but your competition is people sitting in Silicon Valley, the competition is people sitting in different countries all over the world. And then build yourself to international standards.
I like this, Ethel. Build your brand because your competition is global. That's very key, even for anyone in any industry. So if you're listening to us at home, this should be one of your takeaways. Building your brand so hard, working so hard on your brand that you're able to compete with the best in your industry. I've been speaking with Otima Yuenchi. She's co-founder of Because She Can, also Clifford Frimpong, who's a data engineer, and Ethel Kofi, who's a tech entrepreneur and founder at Edel Tech Technologies and founder of Women in Tech Africa. This has been a very enlightening conversation for me. It's also burst my bubble a little bit. Now I know tech can be my side hustle, but also there are so many opportunities in there that we can tap into as young people and open up a whole new world. My name is Noang Falong. This is Spotlight on MX24 Television. See you same time tomorrow evening. Bye-bye.